Hi everyone, it's been a while since I've made a mix video, and it's school holidays at the moment, so I have my assistant, Finlay, here. Come over here, Finn. Finlay is my assistant. He's going to help out. So if you do notice a few edits, I'm not pulling a Swiftie. I probably need to go to the bathroom or something like that. So anyway, Finlay's going to be over there taking some extra shots, aren't you?
Yeah, and I'm going to turn on that bright light over there, which just gets set up, but I'm trying to plug it in.
There you go. Explanation. All right, we're going to mix Sweet Dreams, the Eurythmics track, recorded live in my studio here with the HSCC. The beautiful Mel McCaig is singing. We have Jordan Lennon and myself and Mario Marino on drums and singing BVs. And of course Dave Ross is here, an extra set of keys. We have guitar by Sam Lesky, fantastic player. You'll notice there are some other videos with Sam in them. He's a left-hand player. And of course Colin on bass. Here's all our track. I'm doing this video for the very first time using my Hollyland wireless audio thing. So let's hope that works out as well, and you can hear everything nice and clear. All right, starting off, I really do want to put the video in here. Now this is shot on an iPhone by Pat McBride. Did you notice I just dragged it straight in? It's a quick time. Dragged it straight into the screen. Let me just minimize it and go up to the audio. So I just also imported the audio. So I know that it's obviously going to need to be dragged over here this way. If I just go to my very first kick drum and drag, now I'm dragging the video part. If you drag this, nothing happens. So don't look silly. Grab the video. All right, remember the camera is probably getting a little bit of late audio because it's shot up here behind my rig. So Patta stands up here behind my rig. There's a gap over here of, you know, probably a meter or so. And he has the gimbal here. A few times he'll walk over through and out into the room if someone's doing a solo or something like that. But that's how it's all shot. So your up here is the raw audio from the iPhone. Let's hear that. There you go. Now lately I've invested in a couple of new toys for the studio. This one here I especially think is very cool. It's my little Behringer Monitor. Now I bought two of these, EURYLIVE B205D. So they've got a couple of cannons in, which are multi-plugs. They've also got multi-plugs on the back, so they've got a third input, sort of like an in and through on the back. They're XLR. And, you know, there's no effects on here, so if you're using them at a gig, they're like a personal monitor. For those of you my age, you probably remember the Boss monitors, passive monitors that we used to stick on our mic stand years ago in the 80s and 90s. These also come with a little insert that you know, comes with it. So it just screws on the top of your mic stand or your upright and boom, sits there. Also has another one on top, so if you want to continue your microphone on and or put an iPad above it for your lyrics. These things are really light, super powerful, and over in the corner you'll notice that I've got one listening, you know, basically hearing all of my keyboards, and Dave has one on top of the piano to hear his keyboards. Now we just keep them out of volume that we can hear, but instead of running it all through my monitors, as far as keyboards and everything goes, because remember, we don't play with any monitors. That's how we get separation. So you can hear some of course, that's the iPhone footage raw, no color and no, you know, no tricks. So in the room, Dave can hear himself and a little bit of me. I'm just running them out of outputs from my rig. So I've got 2 sets of in-ear monitors, 1 set in Mel's ears, radio wireless Shaw ones, which is my PSM 300s, transmitters and receiver, and and Jordan has a pair as well, and myself and Dave, instead of running lines out of ears, we're just running lines directly into these little monitors. They're very cool. Look, if you've got a studio and you want even, like, you know, you're doing some recording and you want an acoustic guitar to hear himself while everyone's banging away, this is beautiful on acoustic as well. When you buy these, if you're a live player, you'll want them. If you've got a little tiny gig, they'll actually be a PA. Okay. How cheap? They cost me about $270 Australian delivered. Very cheap. Okay, on with it. We understand how all this works. Let's mute that and get on to our recordings. So we have, how are you going over there, Finn? All right? Good? Okay. Hear a bit of bleed in the old overheads. So look, the original of this had a drum machine synth. It really didn't have much bass. It did have some bass synth, and it was just overdubbed vocals. So it wasn't done like this in a live band. So it is an unusual type of setup. I'm going to start just having a look at a few of these individuals. Let's check out our kick. Now, I'm just going to give it a, I'm going to trigger it but I'm going to change the sound this time. I'm just going to reduce that 63 Hertz push. And I might even just look at an alternate sound here. Oh, I really like those pearls. It really sounds nice and live. I really like that. Dum, dum, dum. And I can go direct. This is the slate trigger too. I like it. I reckon it's fantastic. That kick's really kicking butt. Okay, let's get onto a snare. Have a listen. Now you can have a look at the EQ and see a few little bumps up there. So now these are all character and harmonics. You don't want to kill them all, but I just like to choose what because I'm getting a lot of character and stuff through the overheads as well. So I just want this snare mic to really push the snare thickness. So I take out some of those other things. I do add some tops for hats because I don't use a hat mic. So the snare mic and the overheads are what I use. So. And of course, dun, 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 you got this one. Now that is in pitch. It's playing a minor third in the song. It's an E flat. I want to keep it, but of course my 200 is here now. Look, 200 is owned by the snare. 214, look at that. Now, I'm going to add a little more. Switching on my extra speakers here. Probably a little bit more, a little bit too much to listen to a little once. Now this one below here, that's a little bit of kick drum bleeding through there, 140. So I can actually sort of filter out that kick drum by getting rid of that. I'm liking that. I think that's pretty good. Let's go to rack. I don't think the rack's, oh, it looks like he's hitting it once. Okay. Now the cool thing about this Slate stuff, virtual mix rack, this is just some fantastic. There's some fantastic settings you can just get straight out. Now, I've always liked the rack tom preset. So there's a bit of a ooh, ooh. So look at, I mean, all of these low frequencies just feeding in. Yeah, 100 hertz. Yeah, I'm just going to feed them, just pulling back a bit. And I can hear boom, 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 boom. One more. I mean, I think that, you know, you don't need that ringing on one side. Look, I could just slice that single tom out and a couple of the others, but I want to feel the drums for real. So, you know, rack is panned a little to the right, floors to the left. It's as you see them. I just like the sound of them, and I reckon let's do the same thing. Drums, floor. I mean, look at that. Already better, right? There is some... And as toms go, you put them both together, you bust them. How's my assistant going over there? Good? Okay, so we're going to go to toms. And I'm going to bring the VMR into that group. So I'm going to apply this to both. I'm going to go to drums, and I'm just going to go to overheads. Overhead, smooth. Now, because they don't actually have like a toms setting, you know, they've got overheads, these ones really work. So I'm thinking tight vintage. She isn't going to add, they're dropping off the bottom end, just giving it that sort of compression sound. And I'm going to put a reverb on it. Also a Slate Digital Verb Suite Classic. These ones cool. Now, the original one had a nice, you know, it's not too bad. You're only hearing just the toms, so let's just see if we can get a couple of them going together. Here's another. Overall, in my other monitors, I can still hear a. That's pretty good. That's just 2 tom mics. And, you know, you fix your overheads next. Same thing, I'm just going to grab these and put them through a bus of their own. Normally, I would slam them too. We're going to go to straight out drums and go to overheads smooth. Just leave that for now. So let's have a listen. Just overheads we're listening to now. Add a little bit of reverb. Wow, these are really good. You know, I don't have to do much with these. I'm going to hear a little bit of a in the middle, a little pock. Now, you know, a lot of the time you spend EQing stuff, it's because you didn't place the microphone in the right spot, or in this case, you know, you use the right microphone. These are the Shure KSM 137s. Absolutely love those condensers, those small diaphragm condensers. Just crazy good, those mics. So these are cranking pretty loud here too, so I think I might just get them down to a workable level here. Pull down the gain. There we go. Let's put them all together now and have a listen to how our kit is sounding. Wow, that snare's really good. I'm thinking I just put an L, you know, limiter L3 and just crank it really loud and see how that sounds. Wow. I think it's going pretty well. Let's add some bass. Listen to it by itself. Now, remember we were talking about the 214 hertz or so where that snare lived. I'm going to pull a notch out of the bass here to make room for that snare. I think there's plenty of top end in this one. I will get the R bass out of my waves list and I'll just add a little bit of the 80, just a touch. It's going pretty well. We have guitar. Let's have a listen to this. Now this is an amp with a 57 on it. Pull out a preset, let's see what happens here. Guitar. Now I'm hearing, I like the tone, that sort of edgy sort of thing. I'm going to add some delays. A bum 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 bum, sort of a triplet delay. Dun 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 dun. I'll ping pong it. Dun 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 dun. That sort of thing. Dun dun dun. I love it. Plus I can push it towards the middle, just over to the left a little because Sam is on the left. So that little solo there, I'll just punch that out. Let's just create a duplicate track, find the beginning. I might even just take it from all the way back here, chop it out. Okay. It might end up to be from there through, all the way through to the end. So maybe that whole section from the solo through to the end is on a different sound, which I'll just, beef up a little bit. So look, let's just add the guitar into the mix of everything. Got to be careful with the mids because you've got a lot of singers and you can't let the guitar kill it, but pull it out. I think it's pretty cool. My keys were playing the main sort of synthy thing. I'm going to put a little bit of the delay, delay on, delays, on my keys. And I'm going to go to a tremolo. See what I'm doing there? Keep it together, Darren, keep it together. All right, I think that's okay. And in the mix of things, Logic compressor here, bit of keyboards. Let's have a see what we've got here. I'm not unhappy with the EQ or anything, so we've got a couple of other key lines here. Okay, keys, extra keys, these are Dave's. He's playing a little synth thing on the left hand. And he's also got the choir ooze, which we're actually singing ooze. I don't want to make this really big. So that's one track. That's all the way through, all of the same. And there's another one here that Dave plays. I might even flip this one, left and right swap, because they've got that little extra little thing that has got in there that might actually just pop onto the other side. Interesting. I've added some reverb there. Okay. I'm thinking that's pretty good. There's going to be a lot of vocals in there, and these keyboards do take up a lot of mid-range stuff, so I don't want it to be too huge. Studio dog is getting hungry. Let's get some vocals happening. I think it's vocal time. Let's bust these guys too. BV. Let's have a listen to them. Now, Jordan is actually singing along with the main voice. I'll still put him through here.
Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disown?
Of course, Darren's too loud.
Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something.
All right, so we're going to need some BV, some reverb. I think we're going to need some compression. I'm not going to go too nuts on adding extra things. I think that will be all right like that. We won't probably need a VMR, but I'm going to turn them and like really slam them.
Looking for something.
And I probably will need to just add some air. Roll off the bottoms. Might need a little bit of mids out or mids in, depending on how it affects Mel's voice. Let's add Mel and see how that works.
Dreams are made of these.
So you're just hearing just microphones, mine, Jordan's, Mario's at the back. So just the vocal mics at the moment.
Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the 7 seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to get used by you. Some of them want to abuse you. Some of them want to be abused. Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the 7 seas. Everybody is looking for something. Moving on, moving on, moving on, moving on.
Okay, so
Disagree.
I think we're going to need some delay as well on Mel's voice.
Used by you. Some of them want to abuse you. Some of them want to be
Now it'll have to be a totally different one. I want these to be more in sync with the tempo, so I'll just create a brand new bus and we'll go to the repeater again. My favourite delay, what a great cool delay. This is in the Slate pack. So repeater is actually done by D16 Group. I mean, wow, great little repeater. It's just reminds me of my old Ibanez delay that I had back in the 80s when I was playing my, in restaurants when I was a kid, really. And I had my nice PV head running everything and a couple of old Matra bins or something, and an Elka keyboard amp as well, some crazy stuff. But I had an Ibanez analog delay unit, and I don't think it was stereo. I'm pretty sure it was just an in and out mono, but it just had the same sort of process and sound that this delay has. It's just a fantastic sound.
Dreams are made of these. Who am I?
All right, so I'm just going to figure out.
Dreams.
So it's just basically doing that until you find your sound right. .500's pretty well on it.
Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to decide?
Definitely going to put a reverb on that after it. So delay with a reverb just to soften it off.
My dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the 7 seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them want.
All right, so let's go to 250 and see what happens.
To disagree. Travel the world and the 7 seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to get used by you. Some of them want to abuse you. Some of them want to be abused. Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I?
It's happening. I'm thinking that the track still needs a little bit of thickness. I'm going to go down to the blank master that I've got here. Just have a look at our EQs and
Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to.
I think that snare needs a bit of help. I'm going to pop it down on another track, and I'm going to give it a trigger. Let's have a listen. Find a spot where the snare's hitting. Browse. It's pretty good. I really do like that here. Still needs a slightly different tuning. There we go. How's the dog, really? Well, that's just great. Studio dog, stinky studio dog. This is a snare? Okay. I think that's helping out. Now there's got to be some glue in the track. There's got to be some glue that really keeps that middle, it all going. I think that besides the bass, it could probably do with some more compression. So I might even try and get the bass compressed right. You know, let's go heavy on it, right? Bass heavy. So let's get it compressed so it's in there a little bit more. And my keyboard line, I'm going to... I think that's much better. You have a little bit more glue. So there's a little bit of some backing vocal bits here. You can't hear me doing that. Hold your head up, singing like a girl. Can't hear Darren. Moving on, moving on, moving on, moving on. And I'll just drop back Mel's voice through the beginning of that solo so it doesn't have to crank. And again, back to the top. Now I'm having a little bit of trouble with the snare because I think that all our vocal mics are on and there's just so much snare in everyone's mic. So I'm going to go through each microphone, and I'm going to reduce that volume in between all these, you know, especially these little tiny snare hits like this one in Jordan's vocal here. In between his vocal things, you've got snare hits. If you've got the opportunity like this, drop them. I mean, in the old days when we were using automation, we would ride the faders and we'd all sort of rehearse our moves when we did the mix down. And everyone would come in the studio and we'd all grab the faders, but you know, before automation, and we'd all do our little dance around the desk, turning things up and down during the mix. And then automation arrived, and we we could do it and let it you know, be saved, which was very, very cool. But these days, with working in the box like this, you've got to make sure that all of your snare hits, especially when in between breaths, when you're singing, you know, in fact, the microphone with the least amount of bleed is Mars, who's the drummer. So he's actually playing on the drums. How you going there, Finlay? Might want to let the dog back in. It's going to take your biscuits away, of course. It's always a problem when you're mixing and the biscuits are being stolen by the dog. Okay.
No! Get back out there!
Okay. Back to the video. Did I tell you that it was school holidays? All right. Here is, I think this is towards the end of the song. Sweet Dream. Yep. So, just one snare at the end. And that's it. So I'm thinking that's, you know, that's the backing vocals done. Let's just give it a listen.
Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to get used by you. Some of them want to abuse you.
Now I'm using, on my master, I've got a VMR and I'm using the FG, the blue FG, as my compressor on the master. Adding a little bit of air. I'm not really doing anything else. I could probably take off the bottom. I've had some haters on the bottom end. Sorry, bottom end haters, subwoofer owners. Anyway, I'm going to show you the difference between all of the dynamics. I mean, of course, this is cranking full dynamics. But when I add this, it's going to compress the mix a bit more, and this one just adds a lovely glue. Remember, it's going to mastering after this, so you've got to be careful, but a little bit of this is just going to help this track stay without going bubble, 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 bubble all the way along. So I want to take that staccato-ness out.
Some of them want to be abused.
Now I'm turning it all the way up so you can hear exactly what this is doing. Right, so all the way up to too much, and I'm going to be backwards and forwards until I sort of like where it sits.
Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody is looking for something. of them want to get used by you. Some of them want to abuse you.
Just dropping it while the singing happens.
Some of them want to be abused. Want to be.
A lot of guys doing the same note here, so I'm just going to drop it a little bit so it's not all that same note.
Want to be abused. Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? I travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something. Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something. Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking
During the end, when everyone's sort of singing along and she's doing her ad-libs, I just want to poke her out a little
for
bit.
something. Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody sees. Everybody's looking for something. Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something. Sweet dreams are made of these.
Okay, that's got her out. Look, I think that mix is great. That's what I'll be sending off to Bounce. And look, you know, I'm using my Lander, landr.com mastering service. And I'll probably just make little tweaks to it as I listen to the masters back and EQ it. Obviously, the video is going to need to be color graded and the mixes, you know, restriped onto it, and that'll be the final. I hope that you had fun. I did. Having fun with Finlay in the room and sort of Finlay and the dog and lots of stuff. I hope you heard me through the Holy Land, and that's we all had fun, and hopefully you learned something. Did you? I hope you did. So I really like mixing like this because it's on the fly. I just put the video on, and it's good to have. Just whatever happens. It still has to feel right. And you know, I haven't used the new Slate headphones yet. I'm not really a big headphone mix guy. I like to mix at low level using multiple pairs. And you know, my KRK V6s, my 2020 bass version 3s, the events on the outside, JBL Control 1s, the CR1s, CR1s or CR2s, the Grover knotting, you know, and my Cricks as well. Look, the KDX. I really do think that, and mono mixing down low is very, very important. You can really hear the wrong things when they're obvious. So turn your speakers down when you're mixing. Don't go too crazy, and listen to them on lots and lots of stuff. This mix won't be finalized until I've listened to it in my car, my wife's car, every Bluetooth device I've got, and that Finlay owns as well, my AirPods. It's really going to be good on everything before I commit to it. Of course, I do run out of time, and time is always an issue. All of my mixes are never ever really finished. They're only ever abandoned because of time. Eventually, the video has to come out. And you know, we do one a week, so it is that pressure, and that's also good pressure for me. It helps me finish off a job. So. Okay, we're at the end now, last bit of mix and master, and I have created a fresh Logic session here in 48K, as you can see at the top there, because all film stuff is 48K. If you can go 48K, just do it all the time. You can always bounce at 44.1. It just gives you that extra edge, a little bit more quality in your recording. So I have bounced it out as a 24-bit 48K WAV pre-master, and I've uploaded that to lander.com, to my app, and I've using my balanced medium setting. I remember I've been using Lander for a long time, so I'm used to what comes back, and I know that I normally need to EQ it as well. The things that I'm doing here, I'm just doing some micro little edits to mids and stuff as I pass it around my speakers. I can notice one set has a honk and one has a oomph, and you know, all the little tiny little things. I like to work subtractively. You hardly ever see me EQing, pushing something up. It's pretty rare. So you can see I've made a couple little notches here, and you know, at different frequencies, and that has also, I've got my limiter. I'm bringing the out ceiling down by 2 dB. If you're making YouTube videos, minus 2 dB as your master. 0 does not go to 0. Look, in the past, I got lots of videos that I produced and put on the HSCC channel that did go to 0, and I can't turn back time. Regretfully, I think that they're slammed a little bit too hard, and when you're playing it on some systems, especially televisions, when you're playing it on the television and it's just coming through their crappy television speaker, the television starts to compress it, and it starts to be a bit of a mess. When you play it through your system, it's you know, it's a lot better through a sound system, or if you've got a soundbar or something, but the TV's unforgiving, and so minus 2 dB on the out ceiling. Put a limiter and pull it down to make sure nothing goes past that, all right? Then an imager, which is my S1 imager from Waves. They've made this plug-in for years and years and years. Is really fantastic, because when you flip to mono, you're listening to your mix in mono, and you move this width slider backwards and forwards, there's no phase, you know, problem. It doesn't just flip it out of phase and go crazy like spreader and a lot of you know, stereo spread plugins. They just cause phase problems. There's, you know, and plus when you master, especially through Lander, they tend to pan things in a little bit to control them. So I like to give the width back. I've just spread it out just a touch. And I've got my VMR in here because I wanted to drop, you know, off all of the bottom end at about 40 Hertz. So, and I just figured that would just be the easiest way, just to put in the custom Series E EQ and just pop it in there, because I've got a top and bottom. So the I/O plug-in here is really just so I can run this particular mix so you can hear it through my OBS, which is recording this video. Okay, let's have a look at what it was. My very first mix. Up here is my little 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I've color graded the video, by the way. It's looking a little bit like this now. So
1, 2, 3, 4.
Sweet dreams are made of these.
So this is all right. This is my first video.
Everybody's looking for something.
And then after that, I thought the vocals were a bit dry, and I just thought, you know, there was things the guitar was a bit loud, the a little bit more, you know, more compressed, just adding a bit more body. And then by the time I got up to 5, I had really increased the reverb on her main vocal, because at low levels in mono, it wasn't really popping through with any reverb. It sounded really dry. And the original song had some nice space on the vocals. So now bass is up, backing vocals up and compressed. Some nice reverb on the vocal, and it's
Travel the world and the
nice and fast. There are those little bits where Mel did the high oohs and stuff at the ends of lines. I increased the delay so that it would pop through. So, yeah. The trouble with that is her microphone's more and more delay, and of course there's lots of band in her microphone, so a lot of the band is going to delay at that same time, so you've got to be careful, but it worked for me. You can't really hear the band delaying too much in the background. Like over here. And
Sweet dreams are made of these.
once I'm happy, I've got the video duration up here going all the way through and through to the logo. So that's basically the video just edited and rendered out and just thrown into Logic the same. So once I'm happy, I just go File, Movie, Export Audio to Movie. I name it, press Save, and I create a brand new video re-striped with this mix. And that's my final video that I will be uploading to the HSCC channel. So that's the process. That's what happened after in the mixing. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an inroad on how I master the track. Not much really to do. Lander did a lot of the work for me. I just made sure it still sounded great on everything, and hope that you enjoy it. See you later.